ACC, or Assetto Corsa Competizione, is widely regarded as the best GT3 sim on the market. But there are few competitors out there, and one which isn't looked at so often is Automobilista 2. And this is due to it having bad physics before, but after the V1.4 update, they have gotten a lot better. So let's see how Assetto Corsa Competizione and Automobilista 2 compare before ACC's big physics update. Then we'll do this revision, then we'll do this in a week and see what the big differences are in the physics and if maybe one has overtaken the other at that time. But how do we compare them? Well, I'm going to take the McLaren 720S GT3, which is the newest model of McLaren GT3, currently available in both games, and take them around my favorite circuit, Silverstone, and let's see which one handles the best. Welcome to Assetto Corsa Competizione, or ACC for short. So why I'm starting with this sim is due to it being arguably the best GT3 sim out there, and I'm going to tell you why. Well, the first thing is that it's officially licensed by SRO, so it uses official SRO cards and circuits, which means it has all the modern GT3 cars, all from like 2016-15 and onwards, or maybe even earlier than that too. So what you have to think about is that it has those cars, even though those cars in the competition might not be so good. Even though I also might not be so good. But otherwise, why I am spinning, and you might see some more spinning, is due to the FFP. And there we come into like the first negative, where you obviously have a bit of the seat of the pants effect in this car with this FFP, but you mostly don't actually have it. And this, from my understanding, is due to Kunos wanting to simulate how a GT3 car actually felt with the steering wheel rather than what a actual sim racer would like in the feeling of the steering wheel, which makes it harder to catch slides, but you can catch them sometimes. And then if we talk about the graphics, they're obviously very good, even though mine might look a bit blurry due to me using NVIDIA DLSS 2.0. Otherwise, to that, we can talk about the car. So obviously it's the most modern McLaren used currently in ACC and Automobilista 2. But they have a new one. I think they announced it, but I'm not sure if they're actually racing it. Which we'll see if they add in the next update. And why this is called part 1 is due to me making a video on it next week after the update. And this is actually, and that you can see there is what I'm talking about, and what Gamer Muscle has had a lot of critique of. And that is, if you don't actually feel fully when it wants to slide, which is a thing a lot of people, including me, don't fully like, because when you're trying to push the car with maybe not the world's best setup, it's hard to like control it because you don't know when it's going to spin out, and when it spins you can't control it. So it's a bit like iRacing in that manner. But one thing which this sim has, and why it makes it like the best for GT3s, is being able to do what was doing there. Was just pushing the brake pedal to 100% and just keeping there, even though I'm decelerating. Whilst in iRacing, you aren't able to do that because they have some weird modeling system where ABS actually doesn't work like it should. And why I'm saying that is because you have to trail brake, or you have to not trail brake, but you have to find the limit and then brake accordingly. Whilst in Assetto Corsa Competizione, when going into a corner, you can just put it at 100% and don't have to care about it. Which is, from what I've understand, more realistic. So this sim is quite realistic in the way it handles, in terms of having not a lot of seat of the pants effect through the steering wheel, not a lot of yeah. So it's very realistic in the way of having not a lot of feeling about when the car steps out on you in the FFP or in the steering wheel, but it also has all the official cars and circuits for SRO, which are quite few, but still they're very well made, and the graphics are quite good, even though it takes a good PC to use them. But how does Automobilista 2 compare? So let's head to Silverstone and the McLaren 720S GT3 in AMS2 and see if it's actually better. Welcome to Automobilista 2. So let me just talk to you about this, and at the start you can see, if we just talk about the differences, obviously this sim doesn't have, or obviously, but it doesn't have, it hasn't added the other pits in this version of the Silverstone layout. So that's a bit of a shame, but at least, well, the lap times at least will be at least a bit comparable. And already you can see I'm getting a ton of understeer. But the positives with Automobilista 2, you can say, is that it has a ton of variation in its content, because you don't just have official SRO, I think it is, GT3 events and the circuits they run on, but you have multiple different circuits such as Interlagos, other Brazilian circuits. You have, what more do you have? Well, you have a ton of different. We'll have to name another one. Then we have Adelaide, I just remembered. So there you have, and then you also have different cars, such as you have this car, you have other cars like the Lotus 980, which is an old F1 car. You have old cars, and you also have modern Formula 1 cars, old F1 cars, old manual Group C cars, GT1 cars. The list goes on. And it also allows modding, so you can add custom vehicles, but you can't add custom circuits yet. But you can port content from Project Cars 2 to AMS2, which is good. And speaking of Project Cars 2, this uses, as a lot of people know, the Madness engine, which makes a lot of people think it is a simcade game or more arcadey, but I can assure you the physics are top notch. Certain like things like the seat of pants effect is felt a lot more in this game sim than Assetto Corsa Competizione, but that could be due to me using a custom force feedback option, which officially ACC don't support. What I think about this ACC FFP, but otherwise, yeah, the customizability in this sim is just unrivaled by Assetto Corsa Competizione, which makes it so you can make the game utterly unique to you. And also something which this sim has all over Assetto Corsa Competizione is the possibility to use it with high graphics on older consoles. So for example, me, or older PCs I should say, because it's not accepted on consoles. Because I have a powerful gaming desktop, but I used to use my laptop, which what I'm using for recording. And that laptop has like a 1060 for recording, which is, I think it's like a 6-7-year-old graphics card. No, even older than that. Because if we calculate it, the 40 series came out last year, then 3 years ago the 30 series, which is what I'm using, then you have 5 years, so it's a 7-year-old GPU I'm using there, and I could run this at 60 FPS very well, which is a very positive thing. But the graphics are obviously not on par with ACC due to ACC running on Unreal Engine 4. But that takes a toll on performance. But if I remember correctly, it's not. I'm not sure if it was just a ACC thing or if it was an Unreal Engine thing. I think it was an ACC thing. But anyways, it's something which I have to live with when playing that game or sim. And if we talk about negatives here, obviously you have, due to the large amount of content, certain things might not be as good, because you can see here, even though I have traction control, it's very easy for me to spin. And the sort of called the differential settings are what's the problem from my own tests. And then certain graphics might not be the best, but that's like the shadows, and you can see the poles there have a bit odd. But otherwise, this is a very good sim for people who really want to drive basically what they want, whenever they want, if it's in the game, because the ultimate sim to play whenever you want, wherever you want, is obviously Assetto Corsa. But that's not what we're talking about here. And to make points about this car, I feel like the FFB and everything is better in Automobilista 2, but the actual car might be a bit better in Assetto Corsa Competizione. But what do you think? Comment it down below. And whilst you're down there, please hit the like button and also subscribe. And my next video, I just checked, won't be on this, because this will be released April 19th, the update for Assetto Corsa Competizione. So that we'll do in 2 weeks. Next week, however, I might make a video on Some other things, like some random circuits on random cars, we might drive some Group C cars, we'll see. But until then, I've been Racing Legend, you've been my Miseverse, thank you for watching, goodbye!